Hey everybody out there in Flosstube world, this is Vicky, aka the Virginia Stitcher, coming to you with my Flosstube video number 22. I had to look down on my notes for a second. I almost forgot what number I was on. Today is March 2nd of 2022, and this is episode 22. I want to welcome you to my channel and thank you so much for coming back. If you're coming back again and again to check out my channel, I thank you. If you are seeing me for the first time, watching my video, I thank you for stopping by. So I just want to thank you guys for, all of you for tuning into my video each and every week and all the wonderful comments that I get each and every week on my videos. I just thank you all so much. This community is just awesome. You all are awesome, each and every one of you. So I want to welcome you and to also, I'm just going to go ahead and get into WIPS. So not waste much time because I've got a lot to show you guys. I've been up to a little bit of stitchy progress over the last 2 weeks since my last video. So the first thing that I worked on is my stitch along. This past month, the month of February, I was doing my stitch along piece for my Mirabilia was my Winter White Santa. And he looks like this. And I am stitching this along with Robin and anybody else that wants to join us. And I had put him on a piece of, let me get the bag, my project bag for him. This is a piece of Bestitch Me fabric. And it is a 32 count Lagana in the color, It's a Mystery. So I didn't get very far on him, but this is how far I was able to get on my Winter White Santa. I am stitching him with all of the called for DMC colors, and of course I've got the beads and other things for him that will be put on last. But this is how far I was able to get on my Winter White Santa. So I was working on him during a Zoom stitch along for that Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough is hosting. Once a month, she does a Fancy Folk Zoom stitch along, and I was stitching on this piece. And I had told them that right now it's just a blob. And they said, it's a fancy blob. And I said, yeah, he's a fancy blob. So right now I just have a blob of gray and red. He doesn't really look much like a Santa yet. So, but one of these days I'm hoping he'll turn out looking something like this. Now this is quite modeled piece of fabric. It's gorgeous. I love the colors of it. I love the modeling. Part of me is afraid that I've gone a little too bold with my choice, but I'm going to continue on with this one and see how he develops. Because I was seeing Robin's progress on her piece, and Robin, yours is gorgeous. She has started more up in the head of Santa. And she's stitching him on a gray fabric, and he is just popping off of that fabric and looking really nice. So I don't know if it's because he's just a blob right now and it doesn't really look like much, or if the fabric is gonna kind of take away from him because the fabric is so beautiful. So this was a Bestitch Me 32 count Lagana in the color It's a Mystery, and I am stitching him with all of the called for. And this chart, when you do buy this chart, the Winter White Santa, if you were to pick him up, he does come with, there is a charm in the back of the package here. And it is actually, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but there is a star on top of the Christmas tree. And it is actually that charm. So he does come with that one. I don't know if it's a special charm for the this piece in particular, and that's why. But that's nice that it comes with the charm included. Let me put him back in his bag. Now that February is over, my plan is for my Mirabilia piece for for the month of March, this month, is going to be my Princess Eliana. I have 3 Mirabilias on the go right now. I have Winter White Santa. I have the Snow Winter Queen, and I also have Princess Eliana that I started last year. So my plan is to maybe get some stitching done on her this month. Now, my second WIP that I did was part of my WIP Go. And my WIP Go, every piece that I have on my WIP Go board, I'm stitching 10 hours on. I just put a straight across the board goal for each and every piece that's on there for 10 hours each. If I do more, great, but I want to try to at least get 10 hours in. So my WIP Go number, I think it was 19, I want to say. No, this was my number. What number is this one? I didn't highlight it. Anyways, it was on my WIP Go board. That's not that important. And this is a PDF download from Stitches Through the Years, and it's called the Little Things Sampler. So this is just a print off from my printer. It's an instant download. You can find her on Etsy. She has some beautiful, gorgeous designs. So this is Little Things Sampler, and I had a little bit done on this before. I picked it up for this past couple of weeks, and I did get my 10 hours. I did meet my WIP Go goal for this one. Hold on, I'm dropping things. I feel like I haven't done a video in forever. I don't know why. So this one I am stitching on a 28 count mushroom Lugana with the called for and a little bit of my own conversion of called for overdyed cotton threads. And so this is my progress so far on this piece. I had most of this here done and a little bit of this outer border right here. But I came in and I was able to do a little bit more in the flowers, extend this border up here over, extend this border over, and also do this. And then I started doing my 1/1 lettering. And I'll show it a little bit more up close. So I did some of the 1/1 lettering. It says little drops of water, little grains of sand, make the mighty ocean and the gracious land, something like that, I think it says, and the pleasant land. So I was proud of myself. I was going along and I was stitching away at my 1/1, and I was thinking, I am doing pretty good for somebody who hasn't done a whole lot of 1/1. And then I was looking a little bit closer at it, and I have a boo-boo. I have a tiny boo-boo that I am going to leave in because I don't think it makes that big of a difference. But my little boo-boo is right here. I noticed that this E is just a little bit farther away from the L than it's supposed to be. So I think it's about 2 stitches too far over. But I thought, you can still read it. And I'll just remember not to count off of this E for anything down here. And so I counted off, the edge here and started the next L for the next word little. And I'll just go across. And hopefully I won't make another mistake. But I'm loving this piece. This has been fun to stitch on. But I set it aside because I got to the end of the month and I had some other stitching I wanted to do. So that is my Little Things Sampler by Stitches Through the Years. And then this here is just another needle minder that I made. I went over to, I think this one was Joann's in their jewelry department. They were having a big sale on some of this stuff, one brand. Can't remember which brand it was. I think it was like 70% off. And so I picked up this pendant and I just put a magnet on the back and made it a needle minder because I thought it was really pretty. So that is my second WIP that I was working on for in the past couple of weeks. Let me set this stuff out of my way. And then I picked up my, I showed this to you my last video, my last check-in with you guys. And I told you I'm calling this one my Steel City Stitchers piece. I picked up the pattern and the fabric, but I had to wait till I got home to pull some threads for this piece. And then I started it as soon as I got back. And I'd like to have this one finished by next year. And this one is One Nation by Bygone Stitches. And it looks like this. So it has 50 star flower motifs, and it has each and every one of the states' names in the order that they joined the union. And so, and I had explained more how I'm going to stitch this in my previous video. But what I want to do is stitch a star motif and a state every week, and try to keep up that pace all year, and hope to have this done by this time next year for a Steel City Stitchers retreat. Let me find my piece. This one, the piece of fabric that I picked up at the Crafty Used pop-up shop that they had at the Steel City Stitchers retreat, is a piece of Haunted by Seraphim, and it is coming out really, really nice. Let me show you. I was able to get, I had 2 more weeks since I showed it to you guys last time, so I got 2 more states and 2 more stars, and I worked more on the lines, you know, doing the lines and a little bit more of the blue, outlining of the blue star field. So this is what it looks like so far. Let me back up so I can show you the whole thing. And this is my fabric. And then I'll bring it in closer. So I got, I had Delaware done, and I put in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And I am going to let you know, and I got 3 of the stars. I didn't do the little bit of, there's a few blue stitches in the middle. When I pick up some more blue thread to work some more on the blue part, I will, you know, fill these stars in as I go along that way. Or if I get a bunch of these done, and then I'll go ahead and thread my needle and put in the blue stitches and catch up with that. But that is my piece here. Now, I did go on a field trip just right after my last check-in. Not this Saturday, but the Saturday before. Madeline, Cindy, and I went to In Stitches in Alexandria. We met up there and did some shopping. And it was the first time I've ever been in that shop. And I want to tell you that it's very organized. And they have lots of models on the walls stitched up. And all of their patterns, all their models on the wall are numbered. They have numbers on them. And then you can go over to these bins they have over to the side. And it explains that each bin has a, you know, a number range, like, you know, 1 to 50, 50 to 100, whatever. And you can find a piece that you're interested in by going into those bins and finding the pattern. If it's not in there, the lady at the desk said, you know, come let me know, and I could see either we don't have it in stock and we can order it in for you, or, you know, whatever. So I saw this stitched up at the store, this One Nation piece, and the lady that had stitched it was behind the counter, and she said that, she goes, just make sure that your spelling is correct. Because she said she spelled Mississippi wrong. She missed out an S or something. You know, she just was stitching along. And so when I was stitching Pennsylvania, I made sure and double checked while I was stitching that one to make sure I had all of the letters in there correctly. Because that would be something that I would do. So I thought I don't want to do that. And I am stitching it, like I said, on this piece of Haunted by Seraphim. And I am using, for the blue, I pulled from my stash Delphinium from Victorian Motto. That's my blue. And also the states that my husband and I were born in, California and New York, are going to be stitched in gold. And I pulled Poppy from Victorian Motto. And then for the white, I'm using the Called For at Crew DMC. This color is the most called for color in the pattern. So I think I maybe have about 10 skeins of this for that. And then my Silks for You red color. And I can't remember which one this one is. I said it in my last video, PR something. I don't have it written down right in front of me. But this is my One Nation piece, and Madeline had gifted me this bag at the Steel City Stitchers retreat. So I have it stored in this bag. I call this my Madeline bag, and it holds all of my pieces nicely, and I just think this purple fabric is beautiful. Purple is one of my favorite colors, and jewel tones and things like that. So Love this bag. The next piece that I pulled up and worked on is one that I am thoroughly enjoying. I love this piece. It is huge. It's not something that's going to be stitched really quick, but it's enjoyable because it has several small motifs, and they're so fun to stitch. And it's so fun and so enjoyable. And it is the Heartstring Sampler, His Eye is on the Sparrow. And I, of course, usually start in the upper left-hand corner. So I'm working up in here. So I pulled this up and I worked on it another couple of days since the last time I showed it to you guys. I am using a piece of 32 count vintage country mocha Lugana that I picked up at Salty Yarns in Ocean City when I was there. And this is my progress. This is how far I was able to get. Since you've last seen it, since I've last shown it to you, what I worked on for those couple of days, is this little deer here. This looks like a flamingo, the flower, this little flower, and I've outlined the deer. So I need to come in and fill in the deer. And I just brought this banner just a little farther over. The last time I had picked it up before was at the Steel City Stitchers Retreat about 3 weeks ago, and I was busy stitching on some other things and didn't have time to get around to it. I did have a commenter ask me about this blue color that I've used in the birds here, and asked me if I was using the called for, if this was something else. And this is one of the other, this was a color I couldn't find. I was kitting this up at Salty Yarns in Ocean City. And I think one of the colors was like Brethren Blue, and there was another blue. And they didn't have either of the two blue colors that I needed, or at least that one. So I did pull up, I'm so sorry, I was going to answer the comment on what thread that was, and then I couldn't find the comment again. I don't know what happened to it. So I thought I would address that here. That blue color, which is gorgeous, it is a Victorian motto color. It is this delphinium, antique delphinium by Victorian motto, and it has some variegations going on in it. So it goes kind of to a purpley blue to a brighter blue. That is the color that I'm using in those two birds. Most of the colors are the called fors, but the ones that aren't, I pulled from my Victorian motto stash that I have. So my flowers in the border are in this rum raisin. And then those birds so far is the only thing I've stitched in, the antique delphinium. And then I've pulled up Hilltop, which is a tan color that I couldn't find. And then the Blue Bonnets by Victorian motto. I haven't used this color yet, or the tan color yet in the project, but I have used this one. This one is Vermont Sugar Maple. No, is that? Yep. And this one has some variegation going on in it. So this one is being stitched in the piece and it's coming out really nice. So I hope this answers the question. I know not everybody has Victorian mottos. These have been in my stash for a little while, so I don't even know if they make the colors anymore. But the Vermont Sugar Maple was what was used here in the flamingo. It's used some in the basket, these flowers here on this urn, and in this cow. And I think even on this bird here. So it's been used several times in there, and that's looking really cute. Some of these birds, I can't tell what they're supposed to be. I would call this one a dodo bird, and this looked like a flamingo to me, somewhat. And it's a pretty funky looking cow, but I'm having fun stitching this piece. It is big. I'm not in a hurry. I'm loving the process of stitching on this one, and I am enjoying that. I'm hoping that when I go to Ocean City again in April, that Nancy, who was there, she's supposed to be there again at this small stitching, it's just an intimate small group that goes. I'm hoping that she'll be there again and bring her, his eye is on the sparrow, and we can compare and see, look at each other stitching and maybe stitch along together at that retreat on this piece. I think that would be fun to actually stitch along in person with somebody. So the next piece that I pulled up, I had showed to you guys last video that I had started it, and I had told you guys that, you know, evidently I love these Hoc Runs, and I really do, these Hoc Run hollows. And I had recently acquired the Village Ad Hoc Run. It looks like this. Sorry for the glare. I just didn't want to have to take everything out of plastic. And I was working on this upper left-hand block here. It's actually block number 1 on the pattern. And I had a little bit done on it. And I am stitching this one with the called for DMC colors. And I am using a 16 count Ada that I just purchased at, I believe, Hobby Lobby. They have the big long tubes, the really large pieces. I think they're like, I don't know, 36 inches by something in there. And I had coffee tea dyed it using Priscilla and Chelsea's coffee and tea dye tutorial. They're the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch. And I finished my block number 1. So this is where this piece is. So I was able to finish it. It called for, the last thing I was doing on this just the other night was doing the back stitches. But mine aren't true back stitches. Mine are, I think, what you would call long stitches. Because what I did, and they also said to only use 1 thread, but they look like they would blend in too much with the, this blue would blend in with the blue and it wouldn't show up really well. And I wanted it a little bolder and a little bit more dimensional. So I used 2 threads, and I kind of long stitched it. I went from here to here, here to here to here, you know, so my stitches are not true back stitches on that piece, but that is where I was able to get on this one. So I'm going to put this one away for now because I pulled out another Hoc Run hollow piece to work on. And I think if I keep rotating through them, I have 5 altogether. And I think I'm just going to rotate through them and maybe always have a Hoc Run going for the most part. And things, because I'm really enjoying those also. Then I had a piece that came up on my 24 hours of acrostic, and it was my 24 hours of acrostic. This is Jen Lee does this. She heads up a group called 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. She does a Facebook group. If you join her Facebook group, you can get the 24 Hours of Acrostic pages for each month. And I just wrote it here instead of printing it out. But the 24 Hours of acrostic for February was hashtag 222 many WIPS. And the highlighted ones were the ones that I was able to meet my goal. Partially because I did way more hours on a couple of the pieces than I really thought I was going to do. Because I was only going to do like 2 hours on these here. And I pulled them out and I just was loving stitching on those. And I didn't want to stop till I reached a certain goal. And one of those pieces was my Cirque du Soleil, or Carol, however you say that, by Ink Circles. And I pulled it out, and I was only supposed to work 2 hours on it. And instead I worked till I had a page finished. I was getting so close that a few hours more, I could get the whole page 1 finished of this piece. Let me pull this out of my project bag. And it looks like this. And I am using a variegated silk thread from Silks for You. She is a silk dyer in Australia. And I am using the color, let me see if I wrote it down. This one is the color PR094. She's the same one that did, I ordered my red silk hank from. I have gotten some of her, I have purchased some of her hanks. And this is about half of a hank. This is what's left of half of a hank. And this PR094, let me make sure I'm correct, is a really pretty variegated purples and blues. And so I've been stitching this ink circles piece with this thread, and I am stitching it on a piece of 16 count Aida in the color Tycho, Tycho. And let me make sure I have it facing the right direction and not backwards. So I got a page finish on this one. And this is what it's looking like. What I had still left to do was down here. I had to finish this part. And then I just had a couple of little parts here and there that needed to fill in on the edges. But I was able to get a page finish on this one. There's about 6 pages. I don't think there's 6 complete whole pages, but you can see my piece of fabric. It's going to fit nicely on here, so I still have a ways to go. But that is, I'm having fun seeing the variegation of that thread coming out on my fabric. So I'm just loving the colors in this. And it's such a soft, I haven't worked a lot with silks, but they are so soft and buttery and just so nice to work with. And if you want her information, this is the card that came with my silks. If you want to screenshot that, grab that info. But you can find her just by typing in that silks 4U, the numeric 4, and just the letter U. And she will pop up. She's on Etsy, but I think you might get a little bit of a price break if you order straight from her. I'm not sure how it works, but you can find her either way, either on Etsy or by just Googling her and getting her actual direct shop. So that was my ink circles piece. So I did get a page finish, so I feel good that I can set this one aside for just a little while. I can't wait to get back to that one also. I have so many lovely projects I have on the go that I wish I could stitch on each and every one every single day, but I just don't have the time. The next piece is something that I was just watching Once Upon a Stitch, Lori Schicklone, this morning as I was having my coffee and I was sitting doing some morning stitching. And I'll tell you what, I love her stitching. It's just gorgeous. Lori, your stitching is phenomenal. And most of the pieces that she stitches on, I'm stitching on also. Or I have, and I want to stitch on, but I just haven't started yet. So she was showing on her latest video that she's been working on 3 different Brenda Keys samplers from the Sampler Company. And I actually had been working on this one this past couple of weeks. And this one I think is called the Plymouth Sampler. She never puts the title on the front, but this is what this one looks like. And I had started it on a different color of Aida. It was a more brown, tanny color. And so all of this border here is stitched in. It's solid stitching. And I can't remember if it was this border or this border was really blending in with the background, my fabric color. And I couldn't tell it was stitched in. And I wasn't liking it, so I had to start it over. So I did. I started it over, over this past couple of weeks. And I now am stitching this one on Ice Blue Aida, 16 count Ice Blue. Now I love the fabrics that Lori's been stitching her pieces on. And they're more of a Lugana, like off-white kind of colors, and it's really pretty. So I have another one, I think it's called the Plymouth Sampler, that when I start that one, I might do it on something different. But this is Ice Blue, 16 count Aida. And this is how far I was able to get. So I think it was this right here that was blending in, because my fabric was pretty much that color, like a tan color. So it was just kind of blending in and making it kind of blah. It wasn't standing out. So I started it all over and restitched it. And so I was able to solidly stitch in all of this and then start here on the, I got the, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a little kitty, little cat, maybe a dog, but I think it's a cat. And part of the seaside, you know, the wharf looking area. This is the water. So I was able to get that much done. I'm looking forward to getting over into these houses, these colorful houses. And so, man, I'm really going to have to, I've bought a little tiny ring light and it's really causing a lot of glare. That little kitty, that little bit of water. See here, it looks really light colored, but it's actually more of a tan because I am using the called for DMCs on this 16 count ice blue Ada. And I'm experimenting and I'm seeing, I used some pinking shears to cut this piece of fabric when I cut it to the size I needed. And I'm going to see if that keeps it from fraying too much. Just another, because I have gone along on some of them and zigzag stitched. But I thought, let me try doing the pinking shears and see if that helps keep it from fraying so much. But this was my progress on this one. And I think the Brenda Key samplers are really pretty. They're just kind of like that, oh, I don't know, I can't think of the word, kind of classic, like a classic sampler. So I was working on that one. Then March came along. Today's March 2nd. So yesterday I wanted to start a new piece in March. I had already told you guys in my last video that I have a couple of new starts planned for the month. And one of them was my Merrily, Merrily We Welcome Spring by Blackbird Designs. It looks like this. And I got started on this one yesterday, yesterday afternoon. So I stitched a little bit in the afternoon and then I picked it up this morning and I was stitching, like I said, while I was watching Once Upon a Stitch on Flosstube. I was stitching along on this one. So I got a little bit of a start on it. I had said I wanted to start it because Merrily, Merrily We Welcome Spring. I am looking forward to spring and can't wait to get a start on this one. Oops, that's not the fabric. I was like, that's not the piece. This one's on the frame because I was just working on it this morning. So this is how far I was able to get. Like I said, I feel like I haven't ever done a video. I feel like it's been forever. So I was able to come in and do a little bit of the border, up. I start, of course, up in the upper left-hand corner like I usually do on most of my pieces. So it's just this border up here. And then there's the little bit of this border. And then it'll start the ABCs in here. So I was able to get that far on this one. This one is being stitched with all of the called for overdyed threads. So they're Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, and a couple of Gentle Arts threads. And it's being stitched on a piece of 28 count Lugana by Seraphim in the color Silver Linings. So it has just a tiny bit of a pink hue to the fabric. So I thought it'd be nice for, you know, kind of a spring piece. This piece, I wanted it to look a little lighter than the model piece. So I just pulled this one. And here again, that's another needle minder I just made by, I purchased this pendant and just stuck a magnet on the back with E6000 glue. And you can see my needle is still sticking up on there. But that's how far I was able to get on this one. Like I said, this one is, I'm still working on. I still want to get some more progress on this one. It's a new start and I've only been able to work a few hours on that one so far. So I still want to get some more work done on that one over the next couple of weeks. So maybe my next check-in, you'll see some more on that one. Now the next piece, the one that I was picking up and thought was that, and I thought, no, it's not. This isn't it. Is the map of Hoc Run. I told you I was setting aside my Village of Hoc Run, and I've pulled out the map of Hoc Run. And so I'm working on this piece. So this is what this one will look like when it is finished, something similar to this. I am stitching this one on a piece of 16 count Aida in the color Heartland. And I am using, and it's by Picture This Plus, and I am using a mixture of the called for and a couple of DMC colors that I picked out myself. So these are all DMC, and on 16 count Picture This Plus Heartland. And this is how far I am on this piece. So I picked it up last night, March 1st, and I put in this building last night. I was sitting in the other room watching TV with my husband, and I was able to get the building in, and then I started on this little trail that goes here and the little bridge that goes over the water. So I kind of ended right there. My eyes were getting heavy last night, and that's where I stopped. So I still have my piece of thread hanging there. So that was the last thing I was working on. These last two I've just picked up and just started working on this month so far, yesterday and a little bit today. So those are all my WIPs. That is what I have been working on the past couple of weeks. Now, I had told you that I went to In Stitches in Alexandria, Virginia, a week ago Saturday, and met up with Madeline and Cindy, and I got a couple of nice little gifts from the ladies. One of them, Madeline had gifted me and Cindy each with a pair of these little scissors. And when I was in Stitches, I had seen a small pair similar to this that had a really small blade. And I was thinking, oh, those are cute. And Madeline had told me later when we left and we went to have lunch, that's when she gifted us with these scissors. But she said, I was hoping you were not going to pick up and buy a pair because I already knew I was giving you a pair. So these will be great for a pair of travel scissors because they're so small and yet fit your fingers really nice. So thank you so much, Madeline. If you're watching this, thank you again. I thanked her when she gave it to me, but aren't those cute? So I got those scissors from Madeline. And then Cindy gifted Madeline and I each with one of these little zipper pouches. They're kind of rubbery material. It says, count your blessings on each side of it. So it's just a nice small container that you could put things like your scissors in. And she had also given us just some cuticle oil, you know, that she had found that she thought was nice. And she got us each one of these, and it was gave it to us with the little pouch. And then when we were at Still City Stitchers Retreat, we were all there together. At the Crafty You pop-up shop, they had a bunch of Hello from Liz Matthew pieces there. And one that I kept eyeballing because I saw it at StitchCon. StitchCon had the same piece and back in June last year. And I looked at it and I thought about it and I said, no, I'm already buying all of this other stuff. No. Then I saw this piece by Hello from Liz Matthews at the Crafty You pop-up shop. And I thought, you know, I really do still like that piece. And Cindy said, don't buy it. I have another copy. I have an extra copy. I somehow accidentally bought two. So when we were together the other day, she handed me this one, My Home in the Garden by Hello from Liz Matthews. So now I have this pattern. Thanks to Cindy. Thank you so much, Cindy. I know a bunch of people are doing a stitch along together. It's headed up by Colette, the Highway Stitcher on Flosstube. Brenda, Handwork Maniac, is joining along, and Kim, I can't remember Kim's Flosstube. I don't know if she has a Flosstube, but she's on Instagram. I know the three of them are doing it, and I think there's a few other ladies. And they've got it divided up, and they've been stitching along on it, and they're a ways on it. They've been working for a few months on it, so I think they've already got like this whole top part pretty much done for the most part. So I don't foresee doing the stitch along with them because they're way ahead of me, but those were gifts that I received this week. And So I appreciate that so much, Cindy, and so much, Madeline. Thank you so much. You ladies are fun. We went to In Stitches and shopped. And then I've got a little bit of haul I want to show you from there. And then we went and had Mexican food. There's a really nice Mexican restaurant. We're just down the street, right? Like around the corner from In Stitches. So we went there, had lunch, and then we headed over to McAllister's Deli and got some tea and sat back on a booth and just stitched for a few hours. They were really nice and accommodating, you know, kept asking us and we needed refills on our tea, and we just stitched away for a few hours and visited and then headed home. So I want to show you the haul that I got while I was there at In Stitches. When I went, the lady behind the desk, she was so helpful. I forgot what her name was. I don't even know if I caught it. But she explained the store. I told her it was my first time there, and she explained the layout, explained to me how to find any of the models, like I was telling you earlier. She explained, you know, here's a rack where all of our new charts are. Here's where, you know, overdyed threads are, silk threads, you know, you name it. And so I turned around from the counter where she was pointing to the new charts rack, and the first thing that caught my eye was Mrs. Campbell. And this was one that I saw and I thought, ooh, I would like to get her one day. And I saw her and I just had to get her. So I picked up Mrs. Campbell. I don't have her kitted yet, but I have the chart now. And I don't know if I'll start her this year. She might be a start for next year for me. But Mrs. Campbell by Hands Across the Sea. She's a new piece. I know if you watch Flosstube, any amount of Flosstube, you've probably seen her. Quite a few people have her. And then I went to the fabric counter, and the lady was gracious and would show you all of the different, they had it all organized by different counts and different types. And I told her what I was interested in looking at. And so she got down the 16 count Ada for me. And I picked up a piece of feldspar, a fat quarter of feldspar fabric. Isn't that beautiful? And then I also picked up this one's a fat quarter plus an extra piece of ale, 16 count ale. I think it might be I think both of these are picture this plus. So I picked up 2 of these fabrics. And then I also saw a piece that was on the wall, had to go back to their chart boxes of their model charts and find this piece, get it, and kit it. And it may be a start for this month for me. And this, because I've seen it before, saw it on Flosstube, and thought, wow, I really like that piece. I can't remember who I've seen stitching it, but they had the model on the wall, and that just sealed the deal. I had to get it. And it's Dog's Declaration by Ink Circles. And it looks like this. Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Squirrels. It not only, I love dogs, as I've told you before, not only, you know, is like a dog, could be a dog saying, but it actually can work for me too. Because if you've watched my Flosstube channel for any length of time, I squirrel all over the place. You've seen how many different things I've worked on in the last 2 weeks, and how many things I start, and how many WIPs I have going. And it's squirrel. It's just, I want to stitch all of the things. They're just, everything is so beautiful, and I can't say no. So when I was there, the lady that had stitched the model piece was there, and she told me that it's the called for threads for this one are Valdani, and she said that she actually wouldn't really recommend using the Valdani. She said that they could order the Valdani pack for me, but that it would be, I can't remember what she said, 50 or 60 bucks. Or she said that I could just get the DMCs. She said the DMCs would just be just as fine, because a lot of the stitching in here is so small that you can't really see the variegation of the Valdani threads. So I went ahead and kitted this up with a piece of antique white Lugana and with the DMC threads, except the only substitution that I made is in the lettering here where it says life, pursuit, you know, life, liberty, and the pursuit of squirrels in the big lettering. it looked variegated to me. I could see the variegation in those letters because they're quite large. So I went to their wall of floss, their overdyed cotton threads, and I picked up 3 skeins of, let me see, make sure I'm saying this right, Brown Bear by the Gentle Arts. So I got some Gentle Arts Brown Bear. I just picked a dark brown that had some nice variegation. So I picked up this one because I liked the variegations in it, and it is a dark brown that looks similar to what the model looked like. So, and like I said, I had the lady at the cutting counter cut me a piece to size of antique white 32 count Lugana. So it's just a plain white. It doesn't have any mottling or anything, because there is so much going on in the pattern that I didn't feel like it needed much for the background. I wanted just the stitching to show. So I kitted that up while I was there, and you may see this one shortly being a start, because I kind of have plans to start this one this month. So that leads me into, I believe, plans. I don't know what I did with my notes. I've covered them up with all of my stuff. But yes, well, before I get to plans, I actually wanted to talk to all of you. Of course, you know, the past, I guess, maybe 6 days, the Ukraine has been under attack by Russia. And I'm sure all of you know that. And in my last video, in the last couple of videos, I was talking about these scroll frames that I actually have purchased from the Ukraine. They're called Arabesqua scroll frames. And I had showed you, I had ordered some on Amazon. And after my last video, a lot of ladies came back and said they're back on Amazon. I don't know if they still are, but Amazon had them 2 weeks ago, in the last week or two. And I had showed how I had, off of Amazon a few months ago, back in the fall, I had purchased these Arabesqua, the special edition set, which was 3 sets of the scroll rods and 2 sets of sidebars, and you could put them together in any configuration that you would want. And that the scroll frames have clamps, little plastic clamps that set into the, and that's, you just clamp your piece on, kind of like a Q-snap, but it's a scroll frame. And I love them. And I purchased that 3 set and loved them so much that I turned around and I had purchased a set straight from the Ukraine. So off of Etsy, and they had to come, they were being shipped from the Ukraine. So this is a single set. So this one's fairly long set of bars, and then you can see the sidebars and all of the these are the kind of like the wing nuts, the screw nuts that will tighten your, put your piece together with. So I received these like 2 days before the bombing. They did land in New York City. I was watching the tracking on it beforehand because I noticed they were being shipped from overseas. They were being shipped from the Ukraine. So these came to my house like Saturday, I think it was like Saturday or Sunday or something like that. And then a couple of days later, Russia was attacking the Ukraine. So I highly doubt you're going to be able to get them straight from the Ukraine right now. But if you're still interested in the Arabesqua scroll frames, and you really would like to purchase them and support the Ukraine, a Ukrainian company, the Arabesqua scroll frames, I don't know if you can still get them right now. Whatever Amazon had in stock is probably more than likely all that they're going to get in stock right now. I don't work for the company. I don't have any affiliation with the company. I just love their workmanship on these frames, and love how they hold my pieces, because I do have one of my pieces on there right now, and that was my winter white Santa. And so this is one of the Arabesqua scroll frames. And these are the nuts that tighten it. And then you can see a little bit of the clamp that's underneath there holding my fabric onto the frame, because the frames come with a slit, the scroll rods do, that the clamps fit into. Really nice and smooth, hold my piece really nicely. So this is one of the ones that I have a piece on right now from my original set that I purchased a few months back. But I just, anybody that's watching from the Ukraine or your Ukrainian citizenship, living here in the U.S. or wherever, I am praying for you guys. You've been heavily, heavily on my heart. I have no words. I don't want to start crying. So, but I am thinking of you all, and I know a lot in this community are supporting. There are designers from the Ukraine. There are floss tubers from the Ukraine. We sincerely, I know so many people that are praying for you and hoping that this is over soon and that it doesn't go on much longer, and praying for the best. So I did want to, mention the scroll frames. I just thought, wow, I've been kind of advertising these scroll frames and telling you guys about them. And, now this has happened in the Ukraine, and it's a sad situation. So, any of you that have received your Arabesqua scroll frames, I hope you're enjoying them and liking them as much as I do. Now, plans I have for the next couple of weeks and for the month of March. Now that we are into March, I wanted to show you, I had told you that I met my WIPGO goals, and the Little Things sampler was number 17. And so I was able to highlight in number 17. So I have my 2 for January and my 2 for February goals complete. So I did finish those. And now the March numbers have been called, and they are A Year in Silhouette by Jeanette Douglas, I believe. I can't remember who the designer is for that piece. So I'll be pulling out my Year in Silhouette for the WIPGO sometime this month and working 10 hours on that one, and A Changed World. And that's the one that I had told you I had a big boo-boo on. Where did I put it? And I needed to probably frog some. And a couple of commenters on my previous video said that maybe you could work with your mistake. And I might be able to. I'm going to have to look closely at it. But this is A Changed World by the Scarlet House. Let me get the pattern out of my bag. This is called for my WIPGO. I was working on it some this past month, but I had told you that evidently I must have stitched this too far down. I was counting off of this rickrack type of border, and I probably went off of the wrong part of it and was down too far. And then I had counted this basket off of this, the bottom of this. So the basket was down too far. So, and I'm stitching this on a piece of 16 count Caramel Macchiato by Fiber on a Whim, but my basket's too far down, because when I was going to count off this next line off of the basket, it was going to be down here. And I started looking, and I said, wait a minute, these are closer. These lines are closer. I looked at the pattern, and they're all spaced evenly. So my line should be up here and not down here. So that's when I realized that evidently the first thing I had done was this row here of flowers. And I must have been counting it off, and say this here, instead of this one here or something in the rickrack border. So I'm going to see, I could stay working with this, but this berry bowl might have to be frogged out, because I think if I tried to move my next 2 lines of the saying here up, see how close that Y is? I don't know if that would bump into this flower bowl, the berry bowl. So I'm going to have to check on that. And if it does, I might just frog that. I might leave this down here. I don't know. So I have to look at this and study it better and come up with a plan of action for this one. Because I'm just, I don't know. I do want to get more work done on it. I do want to do it for my WIPGO. So I got to think about that one, and I got to look and see. Another plan that I have for the month of March. I showed you one of my new starts and one that I'm possibly going to start. And I talked about another start that I'm going to do for the month is a Teresa Kogut pattern. It's in my basket right back here. And it is the Newcastle Bouquet. Looks like this. So I was going to start this one. I've been trying to guess. I have a couple of new fabrics coming in from Bestitch Me, and because I'm not sure on the fabric that I want to do it on. Right now I have this piece pulled out that I picked up at the Crafty U at Steel City Stitchers Retreat, and this is a piece of Picture This Plus brash in 16 count Aida, and I like it, and I think of what I have, this one might work well, but I want to make sure what I pick is what I really want to work on. So I have a couple other pieces coming in, and I've started the Merrily Merrily We Welcome Spring, so that's a piece that's going to get started this month, and probably the Dog's Declaration by Ink Circles that I showed you, but also this Quaker Steady is a piece I've been working on. This is a piece that Madeline, Cindy, and I started at StitchCon back in June last year, and we want to finish it at StitchCon this year. We're all three going to Weekend B at StitchCon in June, and we want to finish it there and ring the bell together. So what I want to do is pick this up and make this my 30-minute a day piece for the month, and see if I can get a good amount more progress on this one, because June will be here before I know it, and I don't want it to slip away from me. So this is how far I am on the piece. And this is a piece of 16 count Aida, and the color All the Things that I picked up. I think this one's by, is it Fiber on a Whim? No, Mystic Fabrics, I think, Fibers. Mystic, All the Things by Mystic Fibers, and I'm using a Threadworks color 1043, just one color. It calls for different colors, I think 2 or 3 different browns on it, and I just wanted to do one color of Threadworks on here, so you can see the variegation going on in the piece. And it, the piece, the thread, looks like these. So it has some green, kind of like some orangey and golds going on in there. And this is the fabric, I mean the thread from Threadworks that I picked up at Keepsakes, along with the fabric and the pattern, and we started it there at StitchCon last year. So we want to finish it this year at StitchCon. So that is one of my plans for this month. And that is pretty much it. I did fill out Jen Lee with 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. She's Quirks and Stitches on Instagram. Came out with her March acrostic, and I did fill that out, and I didn't get it all done last month. I'm really trying to make sure that I stay focused and I do my Whip Go pieces this year, because there's just 2, and I'm wanting to stay caught up on that. But I'm doing the March the acrostics, the monthly acrostics with the 24 Hours of Cross Stitch, and I'm trying to participate in the 24 Hours of Cross Stitch weekends that she has once a quarter. So I did fill it out, and it's got, oh my gosh, I think 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 different challenges. This one is called Sanity and Stitches, is what the acrostic is. So I picked a piece for each one of these, and I was able to incorporate my Whip Go pieces in there, my new starts, my Quaker Study that I want to do the 30 minutes a day on, but it also has my anniversary piece, my Token of Love. What else is in here? The Cirque du Soleil that I did the page 1 finish on. I'm going to see, maybe I'll pick it up and I can get some more work done on it. My One Nation by Bygone Stitches. There again, I want to do a star motif, flower star motif, and a state name each week. So I have that down here as a challenge for 4 stars and 4 states. So I was able to incorporate that in there. And also my Twin Peak Primitives, One Nation Under God. That's a stitch along piece that I haven't touched. I don't think I touched it at all in February. So I want to get some more work done on that one. And then my I'll Be Home from Twin Peak Primitives and my First Thanksgiving from Twin Peak Primitives. I haven't touched any of those in a little while. Christmas Garden by Blackbird Designs. I want to work a little bit on that one. My Map of Hawk Run, my Princess Eliana from Mirabilia, and my Spring Quaker from Rosewood Manor. Both my Token of Love, my anniversary piece, and the Spring Quaker are both Rosewood Manor pieces. And when I can, I'm trying to also incorporate at least 1 or 2 of Designer of the Month that the Sunshine Stitchers are doing. And the month of March is Rosewood Manor pieces. So I have a couple of Rosewood Manors on my mind that I want to try to work on this coming month. So those are my plans for the month of March. And those were my WIPS. That was my haul, my gifts, and everything I had going on this week. So, also, I switched my desk around. I turned my desk. I did have the window behind me. Now I have the window beside me. You can see a little bit of light coming through and hitting the wall right now. I also have a small ring light on because I'm hoping that if I have a direct light, that if I do end up, like, the light changes from the window, the natural light that's coming in. I like the natural light because that seems to show true to life colors. Before I was having to turn on a light over here and shine it over towards the desk to get bright light. But I like the setup of this way for my room better because my stitchy spot just works better for me also. I plan on doing maybe a quick little tour of my craft room sometime for you guys. It's nothing fancy. It's just, it works for me. But I did turn my desk. So now my desk is turned towards the windows. The windows were behind me and I was facing in this direction before. So I don't know if you can tell, I have a little bit different of this is a different wall behind me. I still have my bookshelves behind me. And in my bookshelves, I keep a couple of baskets that right now have my planned starts for the year kitted up, and they're all here so that I can just pull them out and when I'm ready to start on them. Some of them need a couple of things still to finish kitting them, but I'm for the most part have all my planned starts for 2022 in those couple of baskets there. And I'm also contemplating doing a kit parade, showing you guys what I have kitted, whether it's partially or fully kitted. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. Leave me a comment. Because if you're not interested in it, I won't do it. I won't go and pull all my kitted pieces out and just put them on display. Because if I pull them out, I'll probably see more than I want to start. Because right now, they're in my closet. And if they come out, they might be talking to me too much. So, and I might go, I have to start that one too, and that one, and that one, and that one. That's why they're kitted, because they're ones that I love and I want to start. And I have charts that I want to kit, like the Mrs. Campbell that I just picked up. I haven't kitted her, but she's one that I would like to start sometime, not this year, next year. So those are some plans I have. So let me know if you'd be interested in a small tour of my little bit of craft room. It's actually a craft room / exercise room. There is a treadmill on the other side of the room from me. There is a treadmill. There are weights, things like that on the other side of the room. So it's half of a craft room on this side of the room. That side of the room is exercise. But my closet that's over here and my stitchy chair that's over here in my craft room with my outline and everything, my setup, I have my setup in here, and I have my cross stitch supplies organized. They're organized for me. I can find what I need usually pretty quickly. So where I store all my flosses, my charts, my WIPS, my kitted projects, things like that. If you're interested in seeing that, I can show that to you guys also. And I have my Fredericksburg hoodie on today. So had to represent. So since I live in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and the weather's gorgeous here today, I'm going to get ready to go for a walk with my husband and 2 doggies. And I think that's it. That's all I have. And I wish you a wonderful next 2 weeks till we see each other again. And happy stitching, and stay safe, stay well, and just be happy. I wish happiness for all of you. Have happiness, health, and just a wonderful 2 weeks. Until we see each other again, happy stitching.